Hello everyone. Welcome to Tea and Book Chat with an author talk hosted by Cup of Tea with That Book, Please, a blog website full of book reviews and recommendations related to news reports, original writing, and of course, tea. My name is Whitney, and I am here with Tabrija, creator of Cup of Tea with That Book, Please, and we will be in conversation with our special guest. Q.M Gatlin, author of Beautiful Chaos. And we want to give thank you to our audience today and our future viewers. You could be doing a number of things right now, but you decided to tune in for our virtual author event. So again, thank you. There will be some time for Q&A towards the end, but feel free to utilize the chat to kind of ask any questions in the moment, and we'll do our best to get to them. Maybe not all of them, but we will do our best. Any links that will be shared or discussed will be put on the blog for attendees to reference later. And as always, just be respectful to our panelists. Next slide. We are on Zoom, so just some housekeeping rules. This is a meet format, so we do ask that you keep yourself muted when you are not speaking. Again, this is recorded, but you, the viewers, are not. You will just see our panelists' wonderful faces, me, Tabrija, and QM. And so, if you are unfamiliar with Zoom, here's just some navigation to kind of help you with some of the features. Again, please utilize the chat with any questions or comments. And hopefully they are nice. Keep it nice in here. And if you have any trouble following along today with what we're saying, we do have live closed captioning. And for whatever reason you need to leave, you can hit the leave button, or it's the icons change, so it's the person walking out the door. And then we always love kudos, so please also utilize all of the amazing emoji features that Zoom has to offer. Next slide. If you are a fan of books, pop culture, and the power of friendship, check out Book Club podcast. Say that 5 times fast. We are already on our third season, and we talk about our favorite reads, current events, nostalgia, and I am always talking about K-pop. So if that's your thing, please tune in, and you can find us wherever it is you get your podcasts, or go to our website fakebookclubpodcast.wordpress.com. And with this, I will pass it along to Tabrija to introduce our author. So without further ado, take it away, Tabrija.
Thank you, Whitney, and hello, everyone. Good evening. So my name is Sabrisha. I am the creator of Cup of Tea with That Book, Please. And I have the pleasure of introducing our special guest on today's event, Q.M Gatlin, author of the book Beautiful Chaos, a free verse reflection. So QM, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to give a short bio of our special guest. So fueled by an eclectic love of books, art, and the kind of theater that leaves you breathless, QM writes with a flair for drama and a heartbeat of authenticity. Their work lives at the crossroads of lyricism and electricity, where every sentence pulls you forward and every image lands with cinematic impact. Their creativity has no box. It ranges from workbooks, poetry, adventure, to steamy mystery, and much more. But beneath the artistry lies purpose. As a passionate mental health advocate, QM creates worlds where readers can escape, exhale, feel held, and sometimes just escape in pure nonsense. These are stories that don't just entertain, they offer refuge outside noise. And I think we can all use a lot of that. So thank you, QM, for creating those kinds of stories. And we're here to talk about Beautiful Chaos. So for those who have not had a chance to read Beautiful Chaos, could you give us a brief synopsis of the book?
Yes, so Beautiful Chaos is a combination of poetry and journaling. The poetry is, I would say, very kind of subjective, and it's not as, I would say, as intimidating as other poetry can be, because I know sometimes when people think poetry, they're like, oh, this is about to be really deep. How do I decipher it? How do I decipher the words? Um, so this poetry is a little bit different where it's more on the simplified side of things, but again, because it's coming from my mind and I know what I'm thinking, again, it's still subjective, I would say. But I do it in a way where I try to relate it back to everyday emotions or events or things that are kind of happening that we go through or we experience so that people um can grasp it and relate like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember a time where I felt like this. I remember a time where, I'm going through this right now, and these are emotions that maybe I didn't want to deal with, or I'm trying to figure out how to get through, or, oh, okay, I feel relatable to this. I feel like I'm not the only one. And so those are the emotions or those are the kind of guiding points that I try to cultivate within the book, along with the writing prompts. And those are just kind of meant to break up the book. And again, just for your kind of average everyday thing of setting goals or really kind of being reflective on you, where you want to be, where you came from, stopping, giving yourself a pat on the back because sometimes we just keep moving forward and we're like, well, I didn't really do anything, but you did a whole bunch that day without even realizing it. So it's all of those things kind of combined in once.
Amazing. I'm admittedly not well versed in poetry, but I did find this book very accessible and I didn't, it was just very straightforward in a way that really helped me. And I really appreciated this work. And I really worked in how I kind of saw myself in related a lot and it reflected a lot of who I am as well. So I just want to say thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to uh, read this work and you trusting us with this work as well.
Thank you.
And with that being said, this is a book that is both a collection of poetry and journaling exercises. What inspired you to put both of these together?
Yes. One of the main reasons was to kind of break it up for one, because I didn't want, 'cause again, the way poetry can be set up, you can kind of just go into this world or deep hole trying to figure it out, even if it's something you absolutely relate to. It can kind of send you on this like rabbit hole. You're like, yeah, I remember a time when, and if I could have, and so I didn't want that to happen. And so I created the prompts to again trying to just reflect back of setting goals, setting a pace. Um, and I always tell people this book is a filler book. So when you're reading these other maybe more intensive books or you're reading, these rom-coms or whatever it is you're doing is, I say use this book as a filler. So when you've read 20, 30 pages or 40 pages and you're maybe in deep and your emotions are running high from another book, I think sit down with this book. And it's, kind of a way to just kind of like maybe meditate it out a little bit. Or if you're up, you can't sleep, you are up early, but you're anxious, or whatever the case may be, it's meant to have those moments of minor reflections in between. And so that's why I did the combination.
And speaking like from my perspective of reading it, I appreciate that because for me it was like very relaxing while I was reading it. Um, and it also made and so I would read a couple of poems and then I would have a prompt. And I feel like with that prompt I could just sit there and like really think about it. And maybe I wasn't able to like because I was reading it on my tablet, but I would, take out a notebook and write like jot some stuff down to really think about it and absorb what the prompt was actually asking of me to do. And you don't see a lot of that with poetry books. And even though I don't I appreciate I like poetry a little bit more than Whitney Whitney does, but I think I would give definitely give this to a person who's intimidated by poetry, thinking that it has to have some like like it has to be, you know, Shakespeare or
Right.
a kind of Walt Whitman kind of thing. It has to like have some hidden meaning. It's like, no, it could just be a combination of words and thoughts and your thoughts and putting it into just like stanzas. And that is a poem. Because I was like, I told Whitney, it's like, no, just it's your own interpretation. Just read how you feel about it. Just go with it, and there you go.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, if you had to pick like one or two poems out of Beautiful Chaos, that best reflects Beautiful Chaos, which would it or they be?
Okay, that's a good question. So one of the ones that I always go to because it's one of my uh the one that for me that hits close to home, and I know for others they can absolutely relate to it. I think it's one of those subjective poems, but if you really look at what it's saying, I think people are able to grasp it. Some people said yes, some people were like, oh, yeah, okay. It's Unfiltered. And Unfiltered is about the bees, talks about the bees and people kind of taking, the honey, breaking down their homes until the bees are depleted and they can't do anything more, which, but we're using all of the resources that they have to give. But in reflection, I'm talking about our lives and how sometimes we can give so much to those around us, and you have people who kind of like have this radar on givers. And they're like, oh, they're giving more. Let me go get a little bit more. Oh, they still have more to give. Let me go get some more. And so sometimes we can keep giving until we're depleted, but then when we're depleted, there's nothing within that system of our lives or our circles pouring back into us. And if there are, it may be not the ones that we're connected to on a day-to-day basis to kind of have that cycle of refilling back. We're typically connected to the ones sometimes that are just taking. And so it's basically just talking about finding a balance is so important because, once you're depleted, it's so hard to move forward. It's so hard to continue and function from there. But at the end of the day, we're still expected to get up and function irregardless. Um, so that one's definitely one of my go-tos and favorites. And another one is Gone for Me. I think it's explanatory, but again, it's subjective poetry. It's talking about when you grieving, right? Like when you either lose someone you love, and grief for everyone is different. And I think people don't realize that um you can grieve a job, you can grieve um marriage, relationships, you can grieve friendships. Um this one was more particular for coming from a space of losing a loved one, but grief has no limitation, it has no bounds, and it has no end date. And so to me it was kind of form fitting and really just sitting there because I think that's kind of hard for some people to not want to think about it, or not really want to reflect on that state of life, which again, that's not something we can really bypass or really choose. Like, oh, I want to deal with this, or I don't want to really deal with this. And so that one to me was very kind of important and one of my favorites, even though it's kind of like a, whew.
Well, it was a roundabout way of asking which ones were your favorites, and I think that's totally fine. No, but I loved Unfiltered too. It was just a unique way of visualizing that type of labor. So uh
Mhm.
But I want to talk about one of my favorite poems, which was Could Be. And it was such a powerful poem about a relationship between a mother and a daughter. What message would you like readers to take away from that? And does it, I mean, obviously this all kind of reflects your personal life, but it don't want to go too deep
Yeah.
if you're not comfortable, but just what are some takeaways from that and what kind of inspired that poem in particular?
Oh yeah. So that one definitely comes from a very raw, unfiltered place. I would say that one more so past, gone for me. I think I had to stop a few times and rewrote it because tears were just streaming down my face. Um, Breaking it down to the simplest forms, sometimes relationships, primarily one of your parental figures, mother, father, these are your first loves, your first protectors, whether it's, biologically or not, but that person, that mother, and more in particular, talking about could be, is again, this is your first innate connection. And whether there are roadblocks and whether there's good, bad, ups or downs, or just complete turmoil, it doesn't dismiss that connection. It doesn't dismiss um the level of emotions and things you go through between that relationship. It hits different. And so that one in particular, um, but it was talking about a different side of it. It was talking about the side of that relationship where sometime as the daughter or as the mother, or say as the daughter, we're like, why can't you be like this? Why couldn't we do this? Why, not understanding that. And on the mother side, like, I don't understand why you can't be grateful. I don't understand why you can't be, or whatever it is we have these kind of things that are kind of weighing up and down, not really understanding that maybe from the other point of view, that's all that the mother had to give. Maybe that's all that the mother was taught in not really understanding that she may have done better than the cycle that was presented to her or the environment or whatever it may be. And also, the daughter is probably doing the best they can given the circumstances in between two worlds of nature versus nurture. And so, I don't want to get too deep into like a lesson in mental health plan, but yeah, so
Go go
it's
go as deep as you want. Yeah, go as deep as you want.
it,
We have some time.
I mean, just it in a way, it is. It very much is nature versus nurture, right? Like sometimes there's so many elements that factor in to this one relationship. I mean, we're talking about one cornerstone relationship out of the many you will experience, but it's extremely powerful because oftentimes, mother, father, right? When you go through traumas, we grow up, you'll find if you reflect back on certain things, it stems from here. You're like, oh, okay, now I never thought I would be doing this, or why am I? Oh, shoot, you reflect back, okay, yeah, okay, this is something my mother did, or this is something I did in response as a protection against myself. But again, like I said, we're not gonna I don't want to go too deep, but yeah, so that's kind of where it's coming from. So, and again, I don't want anyone to sit there and like go into a rabbit hole. I feel like if you go there, definitely seek support for sure. Or hopefully you have someone in your life who can kind of support that. But yeah, it's important. And I think it's important to understand the importance of this so that moving forward with yourself, you can know how to um move. You can know how to say, okay, these are some of the things that I recognize, and these are some of the things that I maybe want to work on, get support with, whatever that looks like. And so, yeah.
Thank you. I just really love that poem. So thank you so much for your deep dive into that. To be sure, I'll toss it to you.
Yes, I second that thing. But it seems like you have a lot to say on this like particular subject. Do you, and this is not one of the listed questions, like do you think that you would write or create something revolving just on that subject itself. Like you said, you didn't want to go too deep into it, but I could sense that there is something that you really truly want to say about it. Did you ever thought of like just creating like a book or a coloring book or just something centering around that subject?
Yeah, I've actually, funny enough, I've been asked for quite some many years to create something in relation to relate the parental relationships. Definitely I could. I'm pretty sure I don't say I could probably stand up and do a whole TED talk on that subject matter. But yeah, I'm definitely I'm in my coloring book zone among many other projects I have going. So yeah, maybe I'll do something light like that for now, and then dive deep when I have a little bit more time. I kind of have a lot on my plate balancing, but yeah, I probably do something a little deeper. Um, so yeah, I have a couple panels coming up, so I'll see from there because I know that some of that subject matter is part of it. Like I said, it always pops up somehow, and I'll be speaking on it. So yeah, I'll see. Who knows? Stay tuned.
I you can do a TED Talk because after I was just like so intent. I was like listening to you and it was very intent and in the zone. So
Thank
you can
you.
do a TED Talk.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We to you at the very least you have to Regis and I and all the folks on this call
Okay.
today
Okay.
who will watch and listen, giving you kudos in the chat. You mentioned panels, being on panels, but we will circle back to that in a later question. But just know it's in the back of my mind. But we kind of want to talk again about your readers. You encourage them with writing prompts, which are excellent, by the way. Um, did you yourself use writing prompts to spark some of these ideas?
I guess in a way. So for me, I'm very visual. I'll say I'm a visual kinesthetic learner, but visual first and then kind of kinesthetic, meaning like I need to do it to kind of learn. So I oftentimes either in my head would create these lists or write them down. When I say write them down, I'm like writing post-its, I'm writing on this, I'm writing on that. And instead of just writing like a line of to do, like I'm usually creating like brackets so like I don't know, that's just the way my brain kind of works. And then later I layer that down or smooth it down to a line or so to simplify it. But yeah, so I use them. I've always used them kind of in my everyday, even when I was younger. I mean, I couldn't really write like that, but in my head I would like lay out this plan um or lay out these plans of prompts and ideas. And kind of go from there. Definitely in my profession, we use prompts all the time, as a clinician and as a coach. Uh, those are important to kind of see like how do we see the bigger picture if we don't lay something out so that we can kind of strip from there, but we need to lay it out to be able to pull from. And so yeah. So even when you're looking at the prompts, and I always say this again, my goal is to always simplify it so that it's the least intimidating role. I never want someone to feel like, oh my goodness, and put it back down. Because I know for me, if I have a million things coming up, I'm like, let me just stare at the wall. Because an hour of staring at the wall feels a lot less. Even though then like you're anxious now because you're like I gotta catch up, but I don't want anyone to feel like that. So I always say like, hey, when you go to these prompts if it feels like it's overwhelming and it feels like it's too much digging or it feels like it's too much, strip that down. What's the words or word that sticks out for you? Is that something you can reflect on? Is that something you want to, you even want to tackle? If you can only tackle it for 2 minutes or you write down two words, okay, great. You did more than you have done in that whole hour. Move on. Move on to the next one. You want to doodle on that? You just want to draw on that section? That is fine because again, we all learn different. We all um kind of gain our experience and differently. And so yeah, it's just, it's just meant to be a guiding support. not a barrier.
And yeah, and I think a lot of people who read this book would definitely appreciate that. And I think that's like a perfect segue into an audience question that we did receive when we had the RSVP form for this event. They ask, your books are inspiring. What do you find most fun or challenging about writing poetry?
That's a good question. Um, Challenging part of it is staying within that zone. For me, staying within that particular subject zone, because my mind likes to wander. Like it just, I can be doing one thing and it's like, I need to go clean this, or let me go start, like, and so that's the same for me with writing. Like I can be writing something, I'm like, like I'll start thinking another subject, I'll start thinking about a whole nother story, I'll start thinking about creating something else. And so just kind of sticking to that subject matter and then forcing myself to, not forcing, but like grounding myself to feel whatever I need to feel for that to be real and reflective for that particular poem. But fun, I think it's the part where you just get to, for my poetry, it's more simplified. So I don't I don't stick by, I guess, the average rules for poetry or writing just in general. Like that's not me. I'm not like this big writer who's like very structured, that's not me. So it's fun in a sense where I can just create my own world and create my own rules. And those who get it, get it. Those who don't, if they want to learn more, I'm more than happy to, discuss and connect. If they don't, okay, I understand because not everything's not my cup of tea either, right? So, but yeah, that's kind of.
Oh, thank you. So we have another audience question that just came through, and they asked, "What do you do to ground and get back to finishing your poems, work, etc.?"
That is a good question. So if I do find myself wandering off or going to do something else, um, like I said, I write a lot of things down, so I'll write reminders for myself for one. And after a while, I'll get annoyed by the reminders, like, let me just sit down and get to it. Or I try to write when I can vibe out, whether that's music at the time, whether it's putting a diffuser on and just kind of getting that meditational place or going somewhere else out of whatever environment I'm in, if it's too kind of overbearing at the moment. And one thing that helps me is breaking it into pieces. I'm not gonna sit there and try to snuff out the whole book, all the prompts, all the anything, because for me, again, that's too much. And I know myself and I know my limitations. And so I'll tell myself, like, hey, if we can get through half of this poem, great. Typically I'll get through the whole one. And then I'll be like, okay, if I feel like I can start a piece of the other one, I'll do it. But I don't put those barriers on myself anymore. Because again, I have so much going on, and I think a lot of us do that. Again, I don't want to overload my brain, and then I just shut down from it. So doing that, like creating those boundaries for myself within myself, helps a lot.
What's your go-to writing music? Because you mentioned it a couple seconds ago.
Hmm. I would say the softer stuff. Unless I'm doing like a writing part of a like book, like a novel or something, then it just depends on that scene. And if I need to feel something from that scene, then I'll try to set that tone, whether it's trap, country, whatever. I'm pretty eclectic, so it's just kind of like whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm trying to feel. Music for me creates those kind of images and things in my mind, so I want to create that space, then I'll move accordingly. But for the most part, I'm like cool with just soft stuff, and because I can multitask and it doesn't bother me, but it helps just kind of balance out the scene behind me.
Yeah, I'm the same. I like soft music. I like like soft classical music because it's just like very soothing and it
Mm.
just really gets me into the zone if I'm like reading or writing anything down. But I do have to be careful because it also relaxes me and it might put me to sleep.
You got to get
Yeah,
into techno.
pretty
That's why I
much.
do like
Same.
EDM in the background.
No, because if I get into techno, then I just want to like start, like just like be yeah,
It's
Hmm.
like in a club.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah,
it's
if it's too soft, I'll be like,
yeah. I love I'm really big into lo-fi. I'm always gonna listen to like the lo-fi, but then also uh as long as it doesn't have words, I think I can manage
mm,
it. Because once it has lyrics, for me, I'm like listening to what's being said, and then that is a distraction in itself. So when I'm in a creative mode, I definitely no words at all. But I classical is too classical chamber music. That's too soft and slow for me. Then
hmm.
I will definitely fall asleep for sure.
It helps you wind down and just relax.
No, something with no words would definitely probably put me to sleep. I'll be like, hmm. It feels like meditational to me. I'm like,
It is. But then also it's like the type of because there is like upbeat classical music that
yeah.
just like, you have to think of like the Looney Tunes when like Bugs Bunny
Oh,
was on that fat horse and uh, the what's
yeah,
opera doc, something like yeah,
yeah.
that thing. Yeah, it has to be like booming and like all that stuff. Yeah. So
Funny enough, I could probably get down to like Phantom of the Opera type vibes and really
hmm
be rocking it out. Like, 'cause in high school, I think I did a stint with, I don't know if it was a whole semester, we did like the choir. And so we had to do like all these, but it was like the way they did it, it was like you were like really feeling the beats and stuff. So yeah, I could probably rock out to that in the background. I just,
See, I'm gonna get people to listen to classical music again. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be a thing. Um, so we wanted to ask, like, is there any like specific books or poems that had a lasting impact on your writing style?
I want to say my style because I don't know that I can. I don't even try. I can't even try to match anyone's style. Because I know again, like I'm very eclectic and I'm just an all over the place person. Like you see, I have poetry and journals and workbooks and not, so like I'm just all the place over the person. So I can't say there would be like one or two or anything that's just like, I want to try to mimic this or I want to try to. But there definitely were books for me that I read growing up. Like Fly Girl and Omar Tyree, the Omar Tyree's, some of the Eric Jerome Dickies, probably books a lot of us in high school shouldn't have been reading or middle school. I don't even remember when it came out, Coldest Winter Ever, like those books. And I don't know if it was just because, again, we were seeing authors as a representation, like, oh, you know, of course, we read the books in high school that were assigned to us, and those books like Why the Cage Bird Sing and all those classics. But um, yeah, I think some of the ones that really stuck with me, um, I love what's her name? Uh, Everlasting Love. I don't know if that's I'm trying to think of the top of my head, but that's probably one of my ultimate favorites growing up was Everlasting Love. Betty Ford. So she had she was part of that like Harley Quinn era of books. And I kind of missed that vibe, that I don't know, that time. It was just different. Like it felt different. Kind of like movies and shows. It was just something about it that's so nostalgic, but they weren't afraid to open, I won't say just subjects, but they weren't afraid to open the imagination or open the doors. Um, and everybody was okay walking through and then taking the art for what it was, versus trying to strip it down to be something to fit what you needed. Like we took that art for what it was, and so so I would say those were definitely my vibes back in the day. And even one, she doesn't write so much anymore. Well, they don't write so much anymore. But some of the ones for definitely for me, as far as other spaces, were Nisi P. She was probably one of the first paranormal books, or among the first paranormal books. She's wrote many other things, but her, Anita L. Jackson, again, they don't really write so much anymore, from what I've seen, but those were definitely the ones for me that was just like, oh, they're creating these multi worlds, they're creating these level of things that I hadn't seen from us. And so yeah, those are kind of, I say as far as inspiration, it's not writing styles, but just kind of like, oh yeah, I love this. I love that I can escape into these spaces. Of course, Zane, I don't know if you guys know Zane. I got that in the background, and you see the nervous and the addicted, the not the movie, y'all, not the movie.
Oh
Not
no. Zane was definitely a
that hit
very
heavy.
pivotal
Yeah, yeah,
author in
yeah.
in middle school, high school.
Look, I
So
don't even
We
know
can.
when. I know we definitely
It
shouldn't
was
have been reading, none of us,
it
but
was
everybody
middle
we
had the
definitely
book.
should
school.
not have been reading it.
Everybody had
But
the books, and you remember, I don't know if you remember, we would cover our books with like
Hmm.
construction paper and make it pretty so that I don't, it was crazy. But it was
I,
a good time though. It wasn't, again, I don't think anybody took it outside of just a story, but it just created this space for everyone. Like, oh girl, what book you got? Let's trade. Like,
And we
you ever
were
read my book
reading.
back too? Like, yeah.
And we were reading.
as long as you
We
So
were
were
reading,
reading. We were
yeah, it's
reading, we
like
were exploring, we were having conversations, we were having book clubs,
yeah.
hmm
before, we really understood exactly what that was. But yeah, that was a good time. That was definitely a good time.
I went to a Catholic school. Oh, we yeah, we went through
We
trouble hiding those books.
we got really creative with that little construction paper and them sleeves, making that
Hmm.
was before it was a blind date with a book. That was way before that. Them books was looking real
You know,
academic.
Yep.
you know what? I've never so I went to school in white suburbia. So like having a Zane, they didn't know who Zane was except for like my so I was very, very bold with
They were
like
like, Zane?
carrying this.
Okay. Very academic of you.
Yeah. I never had to
Like
cover
it's
my
just
books.
like
So it was
art. It's
fine.
like an artistic cover. I get to see like the sense.
Mhm,
Like
exactly.
they just
Yeah,
inspire.
like they didn't know what Zane
And
was. I mean,
meanwhile,
like,
slapping nervous on the bit, just, oh goodness.
Yeah.
so
Like
uh
growing up in New York City, like they knew. Like,
Mhm.
but yeah, like the Sister Soldiers, and it was just
Yeah,
something that
yeah,
like me and the other kids of color I went to school with, I was in a special program where they took black and brown youth out of from the city and like trekked them out to schools in the suburbs. So like
yeah,
amongst us, like we kind of traded these books and we're
yeah.
kind of figuring out like passing them. But yeah, we were very bold about it
But
because
I
like no
think,
one knows our media like we
but
do.
look at that feeling that it elicits for
Yeah.
us. That for me, that feeling is like so important, and it's so hard to get that. I'm like, there would never, for me, I don't think, I haven't come across it, there will never be another Truth to the Game, the original.
Oh,
There will
absolutely.
never be another coldest winner ever, the original. Like it's just like, whoa, like
Yeah.
astounding, astounding. Like, but yeah, that feeling, if
Hmm.
we can go anywhere in the world and see someone else, like, you remember Truth to the Game? It's a whole conversation. It's a whole vibe. It's a whole brunch. Like that feeling is so important and it matters when reading or a book. And so if I can create a little bit of that for someone, in future books or coloring books, and they feel like, oh yeah, I feel good doing this. Like I remember. I may remember what it was, but I remember how I felt. And so if I can create a little tiny, tiny smidge, because like I said, it would never be another Whitney Houston, it would never be another Coldest one ever. It just that's just what it is. You know, it's classics.
We're losing recipes for sure. And Tabrija and I, we are librarians in real life. And we know that, and we can
Yes, shout
never,
out to the librarians. Come
thank
on.
you.
Yes.
And we can never keep like Zane or Sister Soldier on the shelves. And sometimes they grow legs and sometimes they just don't come back. But it's nice that it's a proof that people are still reading these stories and that
Yeah,
there is a need for them.
I just checked out Sister Soldier at work today.
Oh my goodness.
Amazing. Amazing.
And now people risking the library report on their record. They said, let me just go ahead and keep this.
It the they went fine free, so
Oh my
no,
goodness.
unless you don't return the book, then that's
Return your books, y'all. Return
return,
your
please. Because if you have it, that means someone else can't have it. Just that's my soapbox.
No, not even that. Do you know it is on subject, but long time ago, I applied for a job. They did, so it was a government. They did a deep, when I say deep dive, they
Mm,
brought up a library book from when I was in third grade. I was like, I don't know. I don't remember. I don't, third grade.
yeah,
So return your books, please, because I don't know
please.
what I was doing in third grade with the book. I don't even think I was responsible for return your books, y'all. Are
Please return them. You
I
never
thought they was
know.
coming to get me or something. They were like, we have a report. I was like, a report on my record. Now, what did I do
Yeah.
today? But no,
Today.
it was a
Oh my
library
goodness.
book.
My
Return
goodness.
y'all books, please.
Please. Um,
We don't do that anymore.
Oh, well, that would have
well,
been nice. They were all on. I'm telling you, I thought I had did something. Like, you know, when you know you're innocent, but like if a
Yeah.
cop car ride
yeah,
real slow behind you, you're like, did I put my signal on? I know I didn't
yeah.
do a California roll. Like you really started thinking about things like you know you didn't do, but
Hmm.
now in your head you're thinking it's possibilities. And so I was thinking it's possibilities because they were like really serious, and they were like, "Yeah, we need to talk to you." I was like, "Talk to me?" No, yes.
Uh-uh.
It didn't really know it
I
was
had
like,
a whole meeting on a library book, and they wanted to understand why, how. I was like, "Sir, ma'am, I don't even know what book it
Wow.
is." I mean, they gave me the name of the book. I was like, "I don't even remember that book. I don't even know if I'm one of them who got it." Because you know we were like, "Give me your friend
Yeah,
card." It's
you're in
like,
the
yeah. I
chat.
was like.
Yeah, that still happens.
How much is the book?
right?
How
Like,
much? And I think they had capped it off at like $17 because again, back then, can I pay the $17 and so we can go? Because yeah. More of the story, return y'all books. Yeah. Whether they do it or not, return y'all books.
okay.
Don't be like me. Be better.
Yeah. Well, not be better, but
If you be better.
just just encourage your fellow I owed fines on books that I have checked out right now. Well, because I haven't returned them. So, and look, I'm a librarian breaking the rules, and that's
Not in your own bookstore.
yes, yes. But yes, I'm not going to unblur my background, but behind me is one of two bookcases. But
Not the evidence in the background. Keep that blurred.
yes, I will keep it blurred. So what we have a few more questions for you, and I did see that we have another question in the chat, but we'll ask that a little bit later. Um, for readers who are hesitant in reading poetry, do you have any recommendations to help them appreciate the form?
Mm, I think kind of like Teresa said earlier, you when you read poetry, whether it's from mine, from someone else's, I would say because you never know what in which way that they're writing it. Everyone's so different. I would say just go into it with an open mind and open heart. Um, if the first or second one isn't for you, skip around. See, because sometimes I've read books where or anthologies where only one story in there was good for me, and I was like, "Oh yes, I love this," but the rest of them were like, I can't connect. I just couldn't. And the same could be said for poetry because I feel like it's anthology with poems. Um, I would say flip around and see if there's something that kind of just sounds off to you and you feel like you can connect with it and see if it's something that you feel like you understand. Because it's a form of art. So how I view something, you may not view it in the same way, like we talked about could be, even though I for me, I thought it was clear. But in my head, it makes sense. A mother and daughter relationship. To someone else, they're like, this may be talking about the clouds and the sky and whatever it is. Like they may have been in a totally different world with that, and that's fine. As long as it makes sense to you and that's what you feel and it hit home for you, I'm happy. Like that's cool. So yeah, I would just say, and again, if you just don't find it, you don't find it, and you can try again later. But I would treat a poetry book or poems as anthologies. Even the same writer, they're probably not going to write the same type of poems, in their book. So
No, that's really good advice. So yeah, thank you for that.
Yes.
yes,
Okay, all right. Sorry about that. Um, so we're gonna play this or that bookish edition. I'm just gonna repeat it again. Um, so to give our audience members and also listeners a little insight into you and like your bookish choices, and also for our current audience members, play along. You can just enter your choices into the chat that I give to QM. So for the first up, we have paperback or hardback.
paperback,
Yeah, easier to carry around. Completely understand that. Read one book at a time or multiple books at a time.
ooh, if it's good, one book. If I'm kind of in multiple,
Okay. Okay. Hard copy or the ebook or audio book.
ebook for sure, hands down.
It's really hard for me to do ebook lately. It's just like my
Right?
attention can't be into it. I feel like I have to shut down all the other apps on
Oh,
my phone
oh.
so I can be in reading the ebook.
No, I do that. Like I'll be reading, literally in the middle of reading, or something will happen. I have to it's like my brain pauses the scene, or like I'll go into another app, like, let me twindle around with this. I just go back to reading. Mm,
Yeah. Read in the bed or read on the sofa.
Sofa in the
Okay.
bed, I'm probably gonna go to sleep, possibly. Possibly. And I need to be alert with my mom. Like,
uh, a library or a bookstore.
oh, oh, that's hard. I don't know. I feel like both because they're two totally different worlds to me. I don't even know how to compare and contrast that. It's just two different worlds for me.
That's true. Some people it's like they like how both what libraries and bookstores offer. We're not competing against one another. I mean, except if you're Amazon, but like we we work in we can work together in some parts. Bookmarks or page corner fold.
Bookmark.
Thank you. Tell
Bookmark.
this
Don't fail
to
my
the
babies.
tell this to that one over there.
Don't be flooding my pages. Don't ask over all nothing. Don't be
Oh no, I'm a
don't
dog ear
oh
page
my goodness.
person, but
No.
uh, I use bookmarks or like
Do not be flooding
whatever
my
random
pages.
piece of paper, but no, I'm a dog. I will dog ear the
Mm-mm.
mess out of some
No. Oh my
pages.
God. This
Mm-mm.
no.
A book hate to see you coming. Don't
Yep,
flood my pages. Don't.
yep.
Um, friends to lovers or enemies to lovers.
Those are not among my favorite tropes.
Oh, okay.
Ugh. Uh,
Neither is fine. What are your favorite tropes?
yeah.
Very
Yeah.
briefly.
Um, I like a good um I like a good secret baby because that's
I
always interesting
do
to me.
also kind of like the
Because
secret
I read
baby.
it so many different ways and there's so many ways you can go about it. So I like that trope. I do like some of the poly tropes, just depends. Like it has to be written very well. It makes sense. Like not something that's just you use all for one, one for all. Like it has to make sense to the characters, to the thing. Um, I do like a good small town thing, like when they run in, kind of like that Hallmark, but not necessarily Hallmark when they're running
Hmm.
from the big town thing. But again, not in a Hallmarky way. So I do like, or kind of when they move back to that town that they left. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a small town, but those are very interesting to me because those small towns be hitting real heavy, and I'm like, so y'all just been in this a whole little corner doing some real work around these parts. And so I don't know, those books are always interesting to me. So I would say those three are like the ones I really like a lot. I mean, I like a lot others, but the enemies to lovers and the friends to lovers, I don't know. If I see it first in the synopsis, I try not to read synopsis sometimes because then I probably won't. I'll be slow. I'll be slow about reading it.
I get that. I guess I think we just chose those two because like those are like the most popular ones, and
Yeah.
I can understand like it's been it's been done, it's been played. There's like other um more like other popular and more other romantic tropes that other people read
Yeah.
as
No, they're
well.
they're good. They're very much good ones. And not to say that I would never write them. So I don't want to say I leave it, but it's definitely not among my favorite.
Okay.
So I hope no characters ever come into my brain and want to be that because we gonna be struggling. Me, the pen, the paper, the typing, we're gonna be struggling. Yeah.
Um, series or standalones?
Mm, that's a good question. I do like a good series as long as the books aren't dragged. If they're dragging out for no reason and y'all didn't already got or whatever y'all needed to do or resolved whatever development you needed to resolve, but we still hanging on the same subject like 20 times, like a one of them shows. I'm not gonna mention the creator, author, director. Yeah, then we can stand on it. And we can
Mhm.
just stand alone.
Okay. And lastly, we have reading with tea or reading with coffee.
I love the taste of coffee, but I'm a tea person.
Yay.
So yeah, I love a good tea house, a little
What's
tea.
your favorite tea?
I don't have a favorite. I
Okay.
don't. I like them all. I don't really put. I don't put like sugar or anything. I'll put like a little honey or something. But I like to drink them mostly straight. Like I want to taste all the herbs, all the things in them. So I'm definitely a tea person.
Okay.
We are coming up, but I hope it's okay if we go a little over. But I want to get to this question from our audience member, and then we have a couple more and we can wrap up. But the question is, with AI and ChatGPT being around, many people go and ask questions and use this technology for many things like therapy and to self-reflect. What is your opinion on this? In parentheses, people using technology versus using books for help from real life people.
Mm, that's a good question. So I do notice that times have moved. Because coming up, I don't know about everyone else, but for me, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have GPS. Like you had to literally go either write down all those directions, get lost like a real person, or print off the map if you had access to a printer. So I think that it can be helpful in a sense. However, you have to use discernment when you're utilizing any form of technology. Just because we got GPS, that thing can crash out. Your battery can die. What you gonna do? Right? So I think you have to. It's very important. I know there's a newer generation they don't have that kind of thing behind them, but you have to know the basics and then a little bit more than that because if that fails or your presentation cuts off, okay, what are we gonna do? Right? If the lights cut off, do you know you can light a candle? Like, do you know that there's flashlights? So it's just like that type of thinking for me is um use it, but if it's gonna be helpful, but you still shouldn't. If you're using it, you should be the one inputting the bulk of what it is, if that makes sense. So that mostly should be your stuff. It should be helping you as a support tool versus you relying solely on it. And that's just, I mean, that's just that's technology in general. But again, I come from an era where that wasn't available. So you had to know how to do things. You have to know the basics, and so I just kind of feel the same way because we've seen plenty of times where stuff crashes. We've seen plenty of times where stuff comes wrong. Okay, then how do we know what's correct? How do we know? So um and as far as because that's my field, therapy and all those things, again, I feel like it's a lot like Google. You can go on there and say, I cut myself on a cutting board, and it might tell you got XYZ down the rabbit hole. Um, so be careful when you're using it because it can send you into this whole nother atmosphere that has nothing to do with you, and you can misdiagnose yourself. You can kind of just go in this space that's not really meant for you. So just be careful.
Thank you. So we have two more questions. The second to last question is, you had mentioned earlier you're going to be on some panels. So if you're able to talk about it, and where we can see these panels or where you're going to be, and what other kind of projects that you have coming up in the future, or more poetry, maybe some prose. What do you have going on?
Yeah, so from time to time, I do like speaking engagements for organizations, or I'll do panels for mental health or foster youth, or just an array of spaces in these fields. So upcoming, they didn't put out the flyers or anything yet, so I can't say this is time, day, all that stuff. But I will post them on my social medias once they get all of that stuff together. And I love to see you guys there, or if you have questions, even if you can't make it, you can always hit me up. Um, my messages or text, whoever, whatever form of communication you have with me is always open. I think everyone knows that. Um, so upcoming, because like I said, I always have a lot going on. I'm going to be doing more, let's see, my brain, my way. So I'm going to be doing more with this. So I hope to be doing a panel training with this soon, which is for ADHD, neurodivergent, or just anyone who needs help with everyday regulation for everyday things that are happening. So it's a pretty cool workbook. So I hope to do, like I said, a training soon for an organization. So I'll keep you guys abreast with that. This one just came out. It's called Cabin Fever, and I really love how it came out. Super, super cool. We definitely took our time with this because it was supposed to come out during Valentine's, but this one you'll absolutely love, guys. Like it's packed with pages, so it's not something you're just doing in a day and done. You can do it, romantic night with your honey, with yourself, going, traveling, whip this book on out, waiting in the lobby room, take your little pack of crayons, pencils, whatever. So this is definitely a labor of love, and it's full inside, very diversified, but you should be able to feel the love on the pages again. Little tea, the hot cocoa, little so that, and then one of my big projects, I'm putting some other stuff to the side right now. I'm working on with my grandmother. It's her cookbook. She's been on this cookbook forever, and so that is in the works. I'm actually getting her photo shoot done next week. Y'all wish me luck and pray for me and my nerves. I'm pretty sure she's gonna watch this recording. Um, so shout out Granny. So we'll see how that goes. next week, but we're getting that together. And she's someone who, one of those people who came from, again, that time where they watched everyone's kids, cooked for the churches, cooked for all the kids in the neighborhood. So that's her cornerstone, and it definitely is a legacy. And so I'm helping put that together, and hopefully it can help some other people. We're gonna do obviously majority homemade stuff, but quick stuff as well. So if you're not someone who cooks, but you want to learn how to do a little quick putting together, things of that'll be in there as well. But yeah, just if you want something comforting and wholehearted with extra hugs, that'll be out soon. And I have some other projects that I'm working on. Have a couple ADHD books that I just finished, coloring books for kids. So that will be out as well. And then I have a couple novels I'm working on and one that I'm in the works of trying to get released. But if that goes through, then like I said, I'll put it all on my social media at author Q.M Gatlin.
You have a busy couple months ahead of you, and that all sounds amazing. And hopefully, your grandmother will forgive you and not just say, "What did you just say about?" I can hear it.
Mm, she goes side eyes when she look at this, but it's all good. She knows I love her. We work each other nerves. It's all good.
Um, so we do have one last question for you, and it is something we ask of all of our guests. It is um, a book talk. It's like a book pitch to encourage like your readers, your listeners, who and people who are going to be watching this recording later, to give a pitch of Beautiful Chaos so they can go out and get a copy of the book. So we just ask like 30 seconds to a minute. So whenever you are ready, you can go ahead.
Okay, so this is Beautiful Chaos. I would say this is a great book to have either on the go, on your tablet. Definitely a book to have as a way of reflecting, meditating, sitting with yourself, or something to really see you through spaces and transitions in life that we go through. It does touch on some heavy topics, some light topics, but it does it in a way where it's not overbearing, it's not intimidating, it's not all these big jumbled words, so you don't have to be afraid of, oh, am I going to understand any of this? It's done in the most simplified fashion, and there are journaling prompts that you can read in between. So whether you want to fold the pages, doggy ears to mark them, or you want to doodle in the book, this is actually the book that it's okay. It's okay to write in this book. As you can see, there's lines in particularly for you to write and doodle. So this would be the one that it would be acceptable to do that. And so I hope that you pick it up and you're inspired by it, and it brings you joy, reflectiveness, and even if you're just seen for just a moment, that's the goal. And I hope it elicits those feelings of being seen, and feeling like someone or something is in your corner. And so that's what I hope this is. Please, please, everyone, leave a review. It is very helpful. Leave a review on Amazon, Goodreads. It's helpful for any author, especially independent author. So thank you. You can also find any updates on author Q.M Gatlin on all my social medias.
Thank you and love the side.
Yay. And I will dog ear the pages and I will write in the margins.
Uh,
Oh my
God.
goodness.
Like, honestly, how are you a librarian and your dog earring pages? This is
That
like,
page, the book, this book would be so thick with all those
exactly.
doggy ears.
Oh, right. right, there we go. I think it would go directly to the page, and it doesn't. There we go. So, um, thank you, QM, and thank you everyone for joining us this evening. So you heard it here. Please get a copy of Beautiful Chaos, a free verse reflection. Um, this is definitely a book that I will not say dog ear because I feel like you should dog ear, period. But it is a book that you definitely can put your own reflections and your thoughts and write into it. You can get it at bookshop.org or also through QM's website, and we will be providing those links into the chat and also on our YouTube channel and the blog post when we put this recording on to the website. But that is the end of today's talk. We want to give a big thank you to QM for such a great conversation. That this was an amazing conversation, and thank you so much for coming onto the podcast and being. And we're so happy to be a part of it.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
so
me.
much.
And we want to thank everyone for taking the time out of your evening for joining us. Please take the time to follow us on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and also you can subscribe to the Cup of Tea with That Book Please.com website so you can be on the lookout for more upcoming events, um, uh, book recommendations, alerts, and of course, tea. We hope you enjoyed this conversation. We hope you have a wonderful night and take care, everyone. Thank you again for joining.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.